As we move deeper into the holiday season, our focus often turns to our families, family gatherings, family memories. But for kids in the foster care system, having that kind of family is just a dream. Many of them barely know where they're staying from week to week.
I've had 12 placements.
I want to say more than like 10.
But there are organizations, groups, and helpers out there trying to give those kids some support and care. Whether it's a guiding hand to help negotiate the foster care system or someone to help them get the education they need to advance themselves, there's help.
A word I would use to describe First Star would be a family.
So until those kids find their way to a loving, permanent home, there are thousands of volunteers out there caring, sharing their time, and giving those children and teens the next best thing.
Felt like family. For the first time I had something.
We talk with some of those people on Fox 11 News In Depth. That starts right now. Hello, everyone. I'm Hal Eisner. As hard as the pandemic has been on all of us, it has been an even greater burden on children in the foster care system. As illness and social distancing created challenges for personal and social systems, it made many kids and foster parents feel even more isolated and alone. But bridging the gap are those who are making a big difference for children who have gotten a rough start in life, and also for foster parents. One of those joining us right now is Richard Valenza, who started the RaiseAChild organization out of his own challenges with becoming a foster parent and ultimately adopting. Well, welcome to the show here, Richard. You've got such a story, and let's just start with that. What happened to you, and how did this all come about?
Al, I wanted to build a family and wasn't sure how to go about doing that. I always had something in my heart for kids in the foster system. So I decided to become a foster to adopt parent. I did that as a single man, as a gay man, and what I realized from that is how everybody needs to be welcome to this process. Anyone that wants to build a family, RaiseAChild now is a nonprofit organization to welcome them and help everybody who would like to help kids.
You mentioned LGBTQ and the community that you are from, and is it harder for LGBTQ parents to adopt, to live a life that you describe?
Fortunately, Hal, here in California, no, it is not difficult to do that. Again, the state has laws to welcome everybody, and RaiseAChild is right there. We started out really focusing on the LGBT community, but now we welcome single parents, divorced parents, no matter who you are, what color you are, what religion you are. Everybody is welcome here at RaiseAChild because we want to do best for the families and best for the kids.
But how hard is it for the single parent?
It's not. What we recommend is that you have a support system for yourself. But there's also, if you're a working parent and you are fostering a young child, there is childcare available through the state. There are many, many benefits to fostering and adopting. And anyone interested, we at RaiseAChild are happy to talk to you about those benefits.
How difficult has it been during the pandemic? What's been the impact on fostering and also on adoptions?
There are more kids in the system now, unfortunately, and we have less parents, less foster parents out there. Unfortunately, at the beginning of the pandemic, before the vaccines were available, a number of more mature foster parents decided to step away from this for fear of their own health. So we have less folks out there doing this work, and we need more people to take care of these kids.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, is that the message? We need people. We need parents. We need loving people who want to take care of these kids.
Absolutely. And we're here to help them.
Let me ask you, misconceptions about all of this that people might have. You want to share a couple?
Yeah, people think it's expensive to do this. And actually, the state, the county will put money into your bank account every month at the same time, up to about $1,000 to help with the expenses of having a kid. Also, there is health care. Every child that comes into your home comes with Medi-Cal And that is good, and they're covered until at least 18, if not 21. They get dental insurance as well. So there are many, many benefits to this help.
I've been looking at some of these images we've been showing, and the kids, the smiles, it's just so heartwarming. What exactly does your organization do? Kind of spell it out for us on how this works.
So my experience is in marketing. I wasn't trained in social work, but I have a background in marketing. So what we've done is help these agencies get the word out to folks, letting people know that they're welcome, no matter who they are. They're welcome to this process. And it's all about customer service, too. So we are out there to support people throughout the process, and even after a child is placed in their home, to make sure that it is a good match. We're helping build good families. That's our goal.
We just got through Hanukkah. We're on the cusp of Christmas and Kwanzaa. And, well, what are the holidays like for these kids?
It's a very tough thing. It's a very tough thing for the kids. And but fortunately, during the holidays, more and more people are interested in helping kids. So I appreciate this opportunity to be on your show to spread the word.
The holiday, though, is that, a lot of people talk about the holiday blues and depression and that sort of. Does that tend to foster more in the foster community?
What we've learned, Hal, is that during the holidays, during Christmas and up to New Year's, there's a lot of excitement for the kids because they're getting presents. They're going to events. It's the months of January and February where all of those festivities have fallen off. So we're hoping that people that have a New Year's resolution to maybe look into foster care, look into being a foster to adopt parent, hopefully the timing there will work out, that they'll come out and ask for more information.
And people can get more information at where?
At RaiseAChild.org.
RaiseAChild.org. Okay, Richard Valenza, thanks so much. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you and all the folks over at your organization.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Richard, take care. Thank you very much. Coming up next on Fox 11 News in Depth, we take a look at an organization that works to advocate for foster kids so they don't get lost in the system. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Fox 11 News in Depth. I'm Hal Eisner, and kids who age out of the foster care system are far less likely to go to college and far more likely to become homeless. But one group is committed to making sure those kids have a bright future. Joining us now, Mika Khan, the Chief Program Officer at CASA LA. And Mika, tell us a little bit about what CASA LA does, what the role of the organization is, and thanks for being with us.
Yeah, of course, Hal. Thank you so much for having me. So CASA LA is a nonprofit organization within LA County that organizes community volunteers to advocate for both young children and their families within the child welfare system, which is a very overburdened system. So being able to come in and advocate for young people more at a one-on-one basis is a really key part of what we do.
A key part of what you do, I hear you saying that the system is overburdened, so I gather that's why this is necessary?
Yes. I think that one of the things that really comes up is that so many of our young people are part of this large system in which we have social workers, attorneys, judges, all of which have very extensive caseloads. And being able to have a CASA come on and be assigned to one youth and pay very direct attention to that one young person and identify their needs and supports is so vital in making sure that they are given the proper support and can thrive while they're in the system.
We were just looking at what I suppose is a public service announcement for your organization, and the smiles are heartwarming, they're big, they beam, they're broad. The volunteers, I'm sure they feel equally gratified, but who are these volunteers and what do they go through to become part of the organization?
Yeah, our volunteers are incredible people, and one of the great things about volunteering with CASA is you don't need a background in social service or in the child welfare system. And that's because we do our best to provide a very extensive training process for our volunteers coming in. They go through a 40-hour training process that gives them a foundational knowledge of the child welfare system and different situations that their young person may be encountering. And once they are officially sworn in by a judge as a court-appointed special advocate, they are then matched with a master's level supervisor who continues to guide them as they are matched with and support a young person.
I'm just curious. I know that in a lot of situations you have training and your specialized training even, but some of what you learn is really on the ground. It's not in the training session, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, every young person, every case is so different. And so a lot of our CASAs really jump in and learn in the moment, but it's great that they know that they have the additional support depending on what type of case they're connected to and what situations are coming up to continue to learn as they go through it.
I understand that some of the things that these volunteers do is very elaborate and involves an awful lot. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Of course. So our volunteers can really support in a variety of different areas. We have CASAs help with identifying the most appropriate placements, CASAs helping with physical health, making sure young people are making it to their medical appointments, are taking the right medications for their mental health, and really working and collaborating with teams across the board to make sure that everyone is aware of and is on the same page as to what's in the child's best interest.
I have to ask you, like I asked Richard in the last segment, holidays are coming up. How is it going to be for the kids in your program?
So for a lot of our young people who have been separated from their families, this is a really tough time. And I think that one of the key things that CASAs provide during a time where maybe a child has moved, 5-6 times in the last few months is a consistent, stable, caring adult, but also an adult that wants to make sure that they are connected to their family, that they do have other clear and strong social and adult connections in their lives. And so it's a tough time, but we really do our best to make sure that our young people feel loved and supported.
It's kind of like a tough time during a tough time. The pandemic has certainly been very difficult for your group, for your volunteers, for all of us, frankly. And so how has the pandemic impacted on all the things that you do?
So I think one of the biggest places we saw the pandemic really affect us was in the inability for our volunteers to, for a short period of time, see their child in person. We wanted to make sure we were following all of LA County's guidelines, and not being able to have that consistency was definitely tough. However, it allowed us to find new innovative ways to advocate for our young people. Our CASAs were really in the space of education, specifically making sure that our young people had other opportunities for tutoring or support because maybe they were receiving that in school. We're making sure that foster homes were equipped with wireless and internet so that children could actually complete their schoolwork from home, still being able to have visits with their young person, just social distance and with masks. We really had to pivot, but we made it work, and we still, it still allowed us to advocate as best possible for the young people.
We only have a few seconds left, but if there are some folks out there that are thinking they'd like to participate in your program, what do you want to tell them?
Yes, you can visit our website at www.casala.org, learn more about our application, our interview process, our program as a whole, and we would love to have you on board.
Thank you very much. Have a great holiday to all the folks over there. And coming up next on Fox 11 News In Depth, foster kids struggle when they age out of the system, many finding themselves on their own without life skills. But our next guests are working to make sure that doesn't happen. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Fox 11 News In Depth. I'm Hal Eisner. Foster care youths who age out of the system without being adopted kind of have the deck stacked against them. Statistics show that only about half of those kids graduate high school and only about 10% go to college. Well, within 4 years of aging, out of the system. Half will be unemployed, 46% will be incarcerated, and about a third will be homeless. The organization firststart.org was created to change those numbers. And joining us now from that organization is Lindsay Collins-Wilson. She's the CEO of firststart.org, and Devin Alexander, who's the manager of strategic partnerships. And let's start with Lindsay. I really want to understand these numbers and what they mean, and they don't sound very good.
Yeah, absolutely. First Star started on the premise of we wanted to support the young people who these numbers are attached to, and those are our teenagers in the foster care system. Our teenagers in the foster care system have the most difficult journey of all of the young people, newborn to toddler to early elementary, adolescents, et cetera, than all of those groups. And the reason why is by the time you become a teenager in the foster care system, it's really difficult to sometimes find a forever family. As we know, teenagers in general can be challenging. And so young people with this experience, lived experience of being in the foster care system are even harder sometimes to adopt and to find guardianship. And so what we do at First Star is really incredible. And that is, we say that we are going to support you throughout your 4 years in high school. When young people join the First Star Academy, all of them have been in the child welfare system. All of them have a desire to graduate from high school, a desire to go on to college. We do exactly that with them. So over 4 years, we partner with our universities here in Los Angeles. We are so grateful to have UCLA as our partner. And our students come to campus and they get to understand what college life is about. They have the support of mentors. They have the support of their peer coaches and their youth coaches. And so we're incredibly proud to say that instead of 50% of our youth graduating from high school, 98% graduate from high school. And instead of only 10% of our youth going on to college, 90% of our youth go on to college, Hal. And it's something that we're proud of, something that requires, of course, support from the community. But we are really excited to say that those stats that we started this segment with are not the reality of our students at First Star. And it's because of the commitment and the love that we are able to share and provide over the course of their 4 years as teenagers and high school students.
Devin, you have a bit of a personal story here, right?
I do. So I worked really hard, was a TV professional for a million years and didn't ever become a mom, which was a big dream of mine. So I adopted a child thinking I was going to become a mom, which I did. I got a miracle from the foster care system. But in the process of that, read 25 pages of the horror that my daughter's biological mother went through as a foster child, and then just got dumped out onto the streets. And I got my biggest gift from the horrific life that she lived. And I would have to have rocks for a heart not to want to give back. And the more I've given back, the more I learn about how difficult it is for these kids. So I'm turning some of the attention that I have in the TV world to helping these kids.
Lindsay, when we listen to these stories, is this very typical of much of what you deal with?
Yeah, it is. You look at the average teenager that is in the foster care system is going to experience between 6 to 10 placement changes, meaning they are going to move from home to home to home at least 6 times during the 4 years that they are in high school and should be focused on what their goals will be in terms of early adulthood. And what that means is, for COVID, it was a big deal for us to go from working, at our places of employment to working from home and having to navigate that environment. Well, imagine that being your scenario every 6 months. Not only does your home environment change, but so does your school. How do young people who have to attend 6 to 10 different schools, how do they excel in math? How do they excel in English? It's incredibly challenging. And so what you find, similar to the story that Devin was sharing about her daughter's biological mother, is that they start to give up. Young people in care at certain points think that because they've been through so much turmoil and so many people have sort of passed them from one situation to another, that they choose not to graduate from high school, or it's very difficult for them to graduate from high school. And then from there, again, you start to see rates of homelessness go up. You start to see issues in terms of incarceration become a reality. And so that's why the work that we do at First Star is so important and so critical, because we are reminding every single young person in our program that they matter and that they have a consistent adult there to support them along all of life's ups and downs. And our promise to our young people that join our program is that when you join our program as a rising ninth grader, we are going to get you through high school. You're going to graduate from high school, and we're going to support you so that you have options for your post-secondary success, whether that's college, whether that's a community college, vocational certificate, a career path. We are there to ensure that they have that handoff. And it means so much.
I'm sure it does. I mean, we only have about a minute left, but let me just ask you this other question, and that's, it's not just about education, right, Devin? It's about life skills.
Well, it is. And one of the things that Lindsay didn't mention yet is that because of pandemic, First Star created micro grants, because one of the things people don't realize is when a youth goes to get their first apartment, because they've graduated from college, they're expected to have even more because they don't have parents to back them for credit. They don't. So often they'll ask for a second month's rent deposit, which how's a kid going to have that? And First Star steps in and can give that money. So if anybody out there has the ability to assist, we would so appreciate it, because even a little bit can get a child to a job interview that they'd otherwise walk and look terrible because they didn't have money for an Uber or whatever.
Right. Okay. Just real quick, give us a website, Lindsay, so that everybody at home who might be interested knows how to reach you.
Yes, firststar.org. And as Devin mentioned, we would absolutely be so grateful for your support, your resources, to ensure that we can continue to support young people in LA County and throughout the state.
All right, thank you both very much, and we'll be back with more Fox 11 News in Depth after this. And finally, if you haven't already, please check out my podcast. It's called What the Hell, and it's wherever you subscribe to podcasts, or just go to whatthehellpodcast.com. Well, that's it for this week's Fox 11 News in Depth. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week. Before you go, let's take a look at a music video put together by the RaiseAChild organization, featuring this beautiful song, Love is Love, by Mary Lambert and Mary Kay Lambert. Get out your tissues. See you next time, and happy holidays.
Made me believe in love. I told you I was frozen, and I had nothing to give. Look at us now, beautiful family. See how love binds our broken wings, and lost hearts find a home. And love is love, is love, is love. Love is love, is love.